If a couple gets together and on the date of marriage, the husband is worth $10 and the wife was worth 0,
right,
and they were together for 20 years, and on the date of separation, the husband has gone from being worth $10 to $25, what do we split? 25 or 15? The answer is the growth, 15.
Right.
Husband writes the wife a check for $7.5, and that is called, in simple language, equalization of net family property.
Okay.
And that's how their property rights from a marriage get addressed.
Okay.
So there's property, which is what you own,
right,
and then there's support, which is what you earn. So you want to protect two things. You want to protect what you have in the bank.
Right.
You also want to protect your paycheck.
Right.
And that's why people do marriage contracts and cohabitation agreements, to protect those two categories. A lot of people walk in the door who are asking for a marriage contract and have no clue why they're doing it. They just simply heard that they should do that.
Right. And especially
in some cases,
nowadays.
they don't need it.
Right. Okay.
So right away we have to just analyze the situation to determine whether this is a vehicle or a product that we as lawyers sell that the client needs. And in some cases they don't. Because, for example, if the client walks in the door and says, look, I own an acre of land in Oshawa and I don't want my new wife to end up getting half of it, I could say, well, just so that you know, even if you were to marry and split up a year or two or 25 years later, she's not entitled to half the acre. She's entitled to half of the growth by law. So there's a difference. And the client needs to understand that. But assuming the client says, that's fine, I still want a marriage contract, one of the first things that we have to make sure that is done is both sides need to make full financial disclosure.
If they don't?
If they don't, that creates an avenue to one or both of them sometime in the future, particularly when they're looking to rely on the contract, to say, please cancel it or disregard it, because how could you rely on something that I signed without having full disclosure? Well, there was a recent case that I mentioned to you whereby the husband was worth in the millions, married his wife, days before the marriage, asked her to sign a prenuptial agreement or a marriage contract, and she signed it against the lawyer's advice, by the way. And they had children, and later they split up. And then the question becomes, should the husband be protected by that marriage contract? And the answer by the judge was no. Why? Because she had no clue what he was worth. Mm-hmm. She didn't know that he was worth $30 million. She thought he was worth a heck of a lot less. And as a result, that was one of the reasons why the judge decided to cancel the agreement and give her full entitlement to what her rights are.
So an agreement can be canceled?
Yes.
It can be overturned?
We live in a country and in a province where judges do have the right to scrutinize an agreement to make sure that it was fair. We use the word provident. It was a provident agreement. And that the person had full financial disclosure. In other words, knew what she was or he was agreeing to or waiving. And lastly, that the person had independent legal advice. Because how could you sign a document that's going to have such a dramatic effect on your life if you don't even know what it means?